Chapter 26. And the truth will set you free. Max and Monica returned to the mansion in silence. The journey back from the station had given Monica time to gather her thoughts, but it had not made the task ahead any easier. If anything, the quiet walk had only deepened the weight in her chest. Every step towards the mansion felt like another step towards the truth she had avoided for too long. Once inside, Monica paused near the corridor leading to the servants' quarters. Before they went any further, she asked Max if she could retrieve something from her room. She did not explain what it was, only that it mattered, that she needed it before she could tell him everything properly. Max studied her for a moment. Her face was composed, but her hands betrayed her nervousness, fingers curling slightly against the fabric of her sleeves. Whatever she was about to reveal, it was clearly not easy for her. He nodded. Monica thanked him quietly and disappeared down the corridor, leaving Max to wait in his room. He climbed the stairs slowly, his thoughts already racing. Monica's behaviour since her return suddenly seemed heavier now that he knew there was something beneath it. The protectiveness, the sudden silences, the way she sometimes looked at him as though memorising his face, the screams in the night. There had always been a reason. He just had to be ready to hear it. Max entered his bedroom and sat at his desk, trying to settle his thoughts while he waited. His journal lay open in front of him, the one he had written for his mother, to be placed inside the time capsule and sent towards the future. Within its pages was the story of their battle against Griffin, of his journey through time, of the friends they had made, and of Monica herself. More recently, he had added notes about the Zelmite, mines, Flotsam's return, the mysterious genie-like creature guarding the ore, and Palmbrink's sudden transformation. He rested his fingers against the edge of the page. So much of his life had changed in such a short time. On the walls around him were carefully pinned blueprints for the Blackstone one. Not the train as it currently existed, but as Max imagined it could become. His own personal train, his greatest engineering project yet. The plans were ambitious. There were sketches for private quarters, a compact training room, a bar carriage, servant quarters, storage space, and a fully equipped workshop where he could repair machinery or invent while travelling. He had even begun noting ideas for Zelmite-powered upgrades that might make the train faster, cleaner, and more reliable than any engine currently running on the line. It would take time, a great deal of it. But once the work was far enough along, Max imagined taking Monica on a proper journey. Not a desperate mission to save the world, not a battle against monsters or villains, a holiday, a real one. They could travel across the region, visit towns now connected by rail, and perhaps even cross the ocean to explore lands they had only ever heard of. For the first time in years, the future seemed not only possible, but inviting. A soft knock sounded at the door. Then Monica's voice came from the other side, quieter than usual. Max set his journal aside. "Come in, Monica," Max replied, setting aside his journal. The door opened. Monica stepped into the room, and Max immediately saw how nervous she was. She clasped her hands together, then unclasped them. She took a few aimless steps, stopped, breathed in slowly, then started moving again, as though standing still would make the words harder to say. Concern settled across Max's face. "What's troubling you, Monica? Is everything okay?" Monica stopped pacing. For a moment, she simply looked at him. There was fear in her eyes, but also resolve. Whatever she had brought herself here to say, she would not run from it now. "Please, have a seat, Max," she requested, indicating towards the bed. Max did as she asked, sitting on the edge of the bed. He said nothing more. He only watched her, waiting patiently. Monica drew in a slow breath. Then another. At last she began. "I've been acting agitated lately, and there's a reason for that. I have a significant confession to make," she explained, pacing back and forth as Max listened silently. Max's expression grew serious, but he did not interrupt. Monica glanced towards the window, then back to him, as though searching for the courage to continue. "Upon my return home, I had to know what became of you after our battle with Griffin. I imagined you thriving in life as a renowned inventor. It crossed my mind that you might have settled down, started a family, and that there could be a chance to witness your descendants carrying forward your legacy." The words were gentle, almost wistful. Max listened in silence, trying to picture the future she had imagined for him. Inventions, family, old age, a life lived fully after all they had endured together. But Monica's face darkened. "My advisor informed me that you passed away not long after my departure, yet the details remained undisclosed. Driven by the need for closure, I sought out Crest to uncover the circumstances surrounding your demise." Max felt the room grow colder. "Passed away not long after her departure." He stared at her, the meaning settling slowly and heavily. Monica swallowed, her voice lowering as she reached the part that had haunted her most. "I witnessed the moment of your death when Flotsam impaled you with his drill," she disclosed. Her voice carrying the weight of the painful memory still burned into her head. Max did not speak at first. Then, piece by piece, the truth fitted itself together in his mind. The break room, Flotsam's last attack, Monica throwing herself at him with impossible urgency, the drill striking the wall where he had been standing only a second before. "The same drill that you saved me from?" Max pieced together, the realization sinking in about the danger he narrowly escaped. Monica nodded. Her hands trembled slightly, but she forced herself to continue. "Following your death, Palm Brinks spiraled into chaos. The mayor's resignation in shame, the exodus of its residents, and your father, well, he left behind a message before he took his own life." Max went still. The words struck him like a physical blow. His father. Monica reached into what she had brought with her and carefully handed him the note penned by Gerald. Max accepted it with unsteady fingers. For a moment, he could not bring himself to unfold it. Then he did. The room fell silent as he read. Monica watched him, her heart aching with every small change in his expression. His brow tightened. His mouth trembled slightly. A sheen of tears gathered in his eyes as the full weight of the message reached him. Gerald had loved him. That was what the note made painfully clear. He had loved Max deeply and had wanted to tell him the truth about his mother, but fear had held him back. Fear that Max would not believe him, fear that the truth would drive a deeper wedge between them, fear that he would lose the son he had tried so hard to protect. Max lowered the note slowly. His voice was quiet when he finally spoke. "At some point, I need to talk with my father," tell him how grateful I am for him. Monica felt her own eyes sting. I'm sorry I didn't tell you any of this sooner, Max, Monica expressed with regret. I feared that knowing the outcome would lead you to isolate yourself, consumed by fear and shutting yourself off from the world. Max looked at her for a long moment. Then he stood. Monica braced herself, unsure whether he would be angry, hurt, overwhelmed, or all three. Instead, he stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her. The embrace was warm, steady, forgiving. Thank you, Monica. You made a tremendous sacrifice so that I could have a chance at life. There's no need for apologies, he reassured her. Realizing the fragility of life has taught me that each day is a precious gift not to be squandered. Monica closed her eyes, sinking into the comfort of his arms. The burden she had carried alone did not vanish, but it finally felt shared. Max gently drew back and cupped her cheek, his touch careful and sincere. I want to cherish every moment, and I want to share those days with you. For a moment, Monica could not answer. Those words reached somewhere tender in her, somewhere that had spent years trapped behind royal duty, fear, loneliness, and grief. She turned her face slightly into his hand, allowing herself to accept the warmth of it. After a while, she stepped away. Her gaze drifted towards the mirror in Max's room. The girl reflected there looked familiar and unfamiliar at once. Monica saw the posture drilled into her by royal tutors, the composure expected of a queen, the carefully maintained appearance shaped by other people's demands. Her long hair, still tied back, seemed suddenly like another remnant of the life she had left behind. She stared at her reflection with quiet dissatisfaction. Do you remember when I mentioned feeling stifled as a queen, confined within the castle walls? She began, her voice tinged with frustration. Not only were my days filled with official responsibilities, but even my personal style of clothing and hairstyle were dictated by others. Each time I gazed at my reflection, I saw a girl molded to obey and conform to expectations. I was restricted to the confines of the castle, allowed to venture out only under tight security. Max listened, his expression softening. He had known Monica disliked the restrictions of royalty, but hearing it like this made the pain of it clearer. It had not simply been duty. It had been the slow erosion of choice. Monica continued, still looking at herself. That's why I occasionally escaped incognito, craving a taste of freedom and a glimpse into the lives of the townspeople. It was during one of these clandestine outings that I encountered Tren, my sole companion during those moments of liberation. The name carried sorrow, Max noticed. What happened to your friend? Max inquired, prompting Monica to broach the subject. Monica's jaw tightened. She looked down briefly, and when she spoke, her voice was quieter. She's gone now. She did not explain further. Not yet. Perhaps not today. Max accepted that silence for what it was and offered his sympathy with a gentle look. Monica took strength from it and continued. But with Tren gone, I had no reason to remain in that time. Thus, with the assistance of Crest, your mother, and Osmond, I utilized the Starglass to rescue you, safeguard the town, and embark on a fresh chapter in my life, Monica shared. Then she reached into her pocket and drew out a pair of scissors. Max's eyes widened. Monica turned slightly, gathering the end of her long ponytail in one hand. She held it out towards him. "Hold this for me." Max hesitated, clearly alarmed, but did as she asked. His fingers closed around the end of her ponytail while his concern deepened. "What are you doing, Monica?" Monica faced the mirror again. This time, there was no uncertainty in her eyes, only resolve. "For far too long, I've allowed others to dictate my appearance and behaviour in the name of royal duty. Today marks the end of Queen Monica," she declared. Then she raised the scissors. The blades closed with a decisive snip. Her long ponytail came away in Max's hand. Monica's remaining hair fell around her face and shoulders, lighter now, freer, no longer dragged back into the shape expected of her. She stared at herself in the mirror, and for the first time, the reflection looking back seemed to belong entirely to her. A smile spread across her face. "And hello to the new me," she proclaimed, a sense of liberation evident in her voice. Max stood frozen, still holding the severed ponytail, shock written plainly across his face. "Monica, what have you done?" Monica turned towards him, radiant with a joy he had never quite seen in her before. With a smile on her face, Monica shared, "I finally did what I've longed to do." She stepped close and wrapped her arms around him, holding him with a tenderness that carried both gratitude and release. "Thank you, Max. Thank you for giving me this newfound freedom." Max still looked stunned, but his grip on the ponytail loosened as he hugged her back. He understood, then, that this was not simply about hair. It was a declaration. A severing of the last visible chain binding her to a life she had never chosen. Monica pulled back just enough to look into his eyes. Then, with gentle certainty, she kissed him. It was soft, brief, and sincere. Not a grand gesture for anyone else to see, but a private promise between two people who had crossed time, grief, and fear to reach this moment. When the kiss ended, Monica smiled. "I'm going to savor this fresh start," she expressed after the kiss, feeling genuinely content for the first time in her life. Max looked at her, at the shorter hair framing her face, at the relief in her expression, at the woman who had given up a crown and crossed a century to choose her own life. Outside, Palm Brinks was changing. The walls were coming down. The railway was expanding. The future was no longer fixed in ruin. And here, in the quiet of Max's room, Monica had changed too. Not into who the kingdom expected her to be. Not into the queen history demanded. But into herself. The end